ما أريد من هذا الشعب إلا أن يزيد في الحمد والشكر إلى الله عز وجل، ويزيد من محبة الوطن، ويزيد من العمل ومضاعفة العمل لما يسعى فيه من خير له وللدولة والأهل. هذا اللي أنا أدوره من الشعب، وربنا إن شاء الله يوفقنا جميعا على ما يحب ويرضى.
Hi there, my name is Marita and I own a company called Triello Training and Consultancy. Apart from what I do for a living, which is learning in a corporate environment, I have a very busy life outside of work. I have been involved in the motorsports community in the UAE since 2009, and fun fact, I have been part of the volunteer team for every Formula One in Abu Dhabi since it began. In my approach to learning in my own life, I have never gone the formal route. In my 30s, I learned how to sail, and I learned how to sail at Dubai Offshore Sailing Club. And at the end of my 30s, I sailed across the Atlantic Ocean with a group of people, an absolutely magical experience. In my 40s, I learned about motorsport, and I think now in my 50s, I'm learning how to run a business. Friends and family are so important to me, and I am very fortunate to have them scattered all across the globe. I love travel. I worked with Emirates for many years, and that travel bug still stays with me now. I have 11 nieces and nephews, and I adore their outlook on life. I love that they have a very fun perspective, and they are uniquely becoming themselves. And I have a home in a little coastal town in Ireland, and that place is my peace and my calm. I love the waves, I love the sea, and I love being that connected to nature. I have been very blessed in my journey to live between the UAE and my home in Ireland, and I look forward to actually growing that and seeing what the next decade of learning in my life brings.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome again to another episode of Pearls of Union. Today we have a very special guest and the story behind how she built herself and reached to this level. We are having Miss Marita, the owner of Triello Corporate Services. We will be having a great conversation with her. Hello, Ms. Marita.
Good morning, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
We are happy to have you, first of all.
Very much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Before we enter our main conversation, can you please tell us about your background, education, and the things which shaped who you are today, Ms. Marita?
Gosh, there are very many. But I'll start with background and education. I trained as a school teacher, so education was always part of what I did. And I loved working with children because they were curious. They kept me young. But I felt I couldn't, when I was teaching in Ireland, I couldn't do that for the rest of my life. And I came in 1996 on an adventure to the UAE. Nobody had heard of it in 1996. I came to work for Emirates Airline, and I was very fortunate to continue my journey in education through Emirates Airline, specifically in safety and safety communication. And when I left Emirates Airline, I started to work freelance and discovered that I much preferred talking directly to the client and really understanding their needs and being more connected to what they needed to design something that met their needs. So I decided to start my own company and build that for myself. But my influence in learning was very much shaped by my father's approach to learning. He was curious. He always wanted to be up with the latest trends. He educated himself by reading, and he instilled that in us from a very, very young age. So still I can hear Dad say, have you researched it? Have you followed the instructions? I don't always follow the instructions, but that has meant that in my journey, I have stayed up to date as much as I can with what is happening in the marketplace, educating myself, and we transfer that into the content that we build and curate for our clients. But I have to say, both my parents were self-educated, self-made, and it was their push to formal education and the mindset of curiosity that has really shaped my journey to where I am today.
Very inspiring background. Can I know who supported you throughout this all experience?
Oh gosh, so many people. I think in the team in the office, certainly I've got a very strong ops manager, and Karen has been with me from the very beginning. I have had a very strong group of friends through my journey. I've been in the UAE for 30 years, and unusually, our group of friends stayed together. I think the last of them left 2 years ago. And their support, their encouragement, the dinners that arrived, and their belief that when times got, when I lost belief in myself, they believed in me and carried me with it. And my mother. So my mother was a businesswoman in Ireland when women were not businesswomen in Ireland. And my mother always encouraged me to say I could do anything I wanted. So when I felt it was difficult, she would say, Marita, it doesn't defeat you, and you can do anything if you set your mind to it. Yeah.
What does 3 yellow means? I mean, why 3 yellows?
And that's a question I get asked most often, is why tree yellow? And it is the story of an observation of a child who one day in a group of adults exclaimed, my favorite number is yellow. And we laughed at him and tried to explain that yellow was a color and not a number. But he persisted, and when we looked, the number 3 was yellow, and his favorite number was yellow. So then I had to get a domain name, and I wasn't very good with tech and domain names, and I couldn't get yellow and 3 together. So I kept the yellow. The yellow is fundamental to who we are. It's curiosity, it's optimism, it's the eyes of a child. And I went for a tree because the tree symbolizes growth. And if you look at our logo, you can see the story echoed in that we have the original story in the branches of our tree. So the growth and the optimism and the curiosity are the story of why Tree Yellow.
So, Marita, how was Tree Yellow established?
So how we established was I was originally a sole trainer and looking for work for myself. And I did go and went to all the networking events. My definition of success to this day still is when I don't need to network. I always do, but I didn't want to need to network. And I went to every networking event. I spoke to people. And very slowly I got more work than I could manage. So I took somebody else on board with me in a freelance trainer capacity. And then I took somebody else on board. Then I needed somebody in the background for the office to support us. So it was very slow growth, but it has been very much established in what I believe and how I want it to grow. More recently, I find people come to me and say, we would love to be part of what you do. So that growth has happened a little bit more naturally in later life, I guess, for us. In 2017, I adopted a methodology called Lego Serious Play, and nobody had heard of it before, but I wanted something that made us unique and different, that was very powerful in exploring perspectives, and that also kept the curiosity of the child. And when I experienced the methodology of Lego Serious Play, I fell in love. It was absolutely fundamental to the story of Tree Yellow. And now in every training course we do, we have little Lego bags for everything. We also work with bigger Lego kits, but we have become known for the Lego methodology and conversations and team days through Lego Serious Play.
So behind the cameras, I think it's important to mention the loved ones. You told me there is a story related to your father. Can you speak about that?
That would be where my father's love of learning. So from a very young age, my father believed in your ability to educate yourself. He thought it was very important because he had not been formally educated, and he had great respect for people of education. So it was instilled in us. And when we were very little at Christmas time, we used to get the instruction book before we got the toys so that we knew how to use it and how to use it properly. And whilst that was actually fairly frustrating as a young child who wanted the toy, it was a very special learning experience. It was, have you taken the instructions? Have you read the instructions? Do you know how it works? He didn't, like I said, he didn't always follow the instructions. So they also instilled that questioning in us. So yeah, both my parents were very much committed to us having a formal education, but also having the mindset of anything was possible and questioning. But yeah, the toys at Christmas were very frustrating as a very young child.
So what's the challenges which you think any corporate services sector can face nowadays?
I guess, and you can't start this conversation without mentioning AI, but I think AI is just the new shift in how we work. I think all of these shifts are accelerated. It will be something else in a number of years' time. And I think the challenge for organizations is that the external environment is moving very quickly, evolving very quickly. As human beings, we don't change much. You know, our skill sets are the same, our mindsets evolve slowly. And I think the greatest challenge will be to keep the human skills and the inner development very much in line with the external environment, because AI is topical now, but it won't be topical tomorrow. It will be part of life, and then it will be something else. So how do we, again, it's curiosity for me, it's one of our values. How do we instill curiosity and critical thinking as human skills? And how do people know themselves internally so that they can work better with others, they can adapt to what's happening, and that they can lead and bring others with them?
How Tree Yellow is keeping up with these challenges?
Interestingly, we're not AI tech focused. I have a firm belief that there is a complementary skill set in the workplace with AI, and that's where our focus is. So we are focusing on the ability to think critically, to know yourself, to understand how you are through change and transition, because they are two different things, and very much focusing on that side of it. I know everybody has said AI is the thing, but to complement it, you do need to focus on the person. And that's what we do, is to keep up with the challenges of the world. And the challenges the corporate face is to focus on the person and the development of the person.
So what is the vision of Tree Yellow?
Oh gosh, the vision for Tree Yellow is a world where people are curious and who will question and not accept information as it is given, but understand how to source information, to think about it for themselves, and to speak to others. If you look at a team of people, how do you speak to others to understand their perspective? Because we all have very valid and very different perspectives. And the vision is that we understand that we may think differently. It is valid, and that we work to skill people to come together so that we can use all of those perspectives.
What is your advice for the younger generation who would like to build their career in corporate services?
My advice for somebody who is starting in a corporate career is, and I am repeating the themes from throughout the interview, remain critical about the information that you hear. Look at what the skills are needed in terms of across industries, and find something that makes you unique. So there will be a lot of people that will have the same skill sets as you. How you combine those makes you very attractive to an organization. So they're getting two things they can get someplace else, but something that is uniquely yours. Maintain your belief in your ability, and really work to understand where others come from. The world is going to change very quickly. Together we are stronger than you are alone. So your ability to leverage and work with people, and to finally know yourself and how you interact in that dynamic.
Dear Marita, before we end our interview for today, would you like to give a thank you message for the UAE government?
I very much would. I have been in this country as a citizen since 1996. The UAE has afforded me the opportunity to do so many things I could never have done otherwise, because the mindset is one of possibility. And when you say you want to do something, they say, why not more and why not better? And I would very much like to thank the UAE government for the opportunity to have done that here, and have done it with so many great people across so many nationalities, and also to every UAE national that I have had the privilege of working with and meeting with. I think I have settled very well here because your culture is very similar to our culture in terms of values, in terms of family, and actually very more importantly for me is in terms of sense of humor. So I look forward to spending many more years building with the nation in the UAE, and I look forward to what it brings.
So with this, we come to the end of our program. We had a great conversation with dear Marita about her experience, her background, and it was a nice speaking to you, dear Marita.
It was an absolute pleasure, and thank you for having me on board.
Thank you for being with us.